Hello, everyone. Thank you for listening to my presentation today. My name is Wes Barker, and I'm excited to share with you a vision for revitalizing the rural town of Tionesta, Pennsylvania. So to start, I'll be talking about my personal connection to the area, exploring the rich background and current challenges of Tionesta, and then walking you through how architecture has served as a tool to reconnect, regenerate, and reimagine its future. So, since childhood, my brother and I spent countless hours outdoors, while our sister stayed comfortably inside. But one place that brought us all together was our family's cabin in Tionesta. Built in 1936 during the Great Depression, our cabin sits tucked away on top of the hillside, a place where wildlife roams everywhere and life in general moves at a relaxed pace. It's been in our family for generations, and we continue to return, drawn by its sense of peace as well as its legacy. That very legacy is mirrored in the town of Tionesta itself. So a little bit more on Tionesta. It was first settled in 1816 by a Polish hunter named John Range and became part of Forest County as a whole in 1866. This area thrived on forestry and the oil industry through the end of the 19th century, booming until resource depletion and industrial monopolies led to population decline. So, as the resources left the area, so did the people, but a select few stayed behind and continued to live in the town. By the time the 1930s rolled around, the Civilian Conservation Corps, enforced by FDR in response to the Great Depression as an effort to provide jobs, established projects like the Tionesta Dam that came to fruition in 1940. This was designed for flood control, but also as a recreational outlet. These pictures depict the oil pipeline in the year 1930, with Western PA being in the midst of the oil pipeline in its early days. All of this has worked together to shape what Tionesta is. And Tionesta's identity is preserved in its historic homes, lodging sites, community festivals like the Indian Festival that takes place locally in Tionesta, as well as the Bigfoot Festival that takes place in the neighboring town of Marionville, Ohio. And as I was going about this project, I noticed in one of my interviews that the girl working at the subway in town said over 12,000 people nationwide passed through Tionesta in a span of just 1 week. Tionesta's slogan is a nice place at a relaxed pace. All of this works together to create a tight-knit community that enjoys one another's company and whose lives are merged with outdoor living, largely being hunting and fishing. However, despite its character, Tionesta is slowly fading. Since 2020, the population has declined by about 4.65%. The median age is nearly 60, with many retired residents or veterans who formerly served overseas. The median income, as a result, is just over $40,000 per year, largely from fixed sources such as Social Security. But this creates an opportunity, which we must address it in terms of community and economic terms. And there are gaps, and we need to address these gaps by providing central resources for outdoor enthusiasts, creating spaces for intergenerational workshops and youth engagement, and supporting local businesses and fostering new ones through shared interests in hunting, fishing, and recreation. This figure illustrates a correlation between the age at which individuals from different financial backgrounds begin fishing and the likelihood they remain engaged with the hobby over time. We can note that the data shows that investment in fishing tends to increase with age. Some more research and key factors that shaped this project started with COVID-19 and the impact of that. The pandemic sparked a societal shift, pushing many to explore new hobbies, particularly in outdoor recreation. In 2024 alone, the outdoor recreation industry generated $560 billion in revenue, with a compound annual growth rate of about 4.1% since 2020 to the current day. These trends point to a broader generational shift, though, that we need to recognize. As older generations pass on, an inevitable wealth transfer is taking place. The millennial generation is most likely going to inherit the resources from those who pass, who experienced COVID-19 at a time where these new hobbies recreationally outdoors were formed. The millennials can invest in their kids, and this continue down through generations. This creates opportunities to strengthen what we call youth-adult partnerships, where mentorship and shared experiences between generations help preserve traditions and foster community resilience. So how am I going to do this? I'm proposing a 2-phase architectural plan grounded in the mentorship model that we just discussed, encouraging youth-adult partnerships that build community and a shared knowledge. And by splitting this into 2 phases, it allows for affordability as well as a smoother transition for locals to adjust to their surroundings. Phase 1 includes a hunting and fishing community lodge with amenities for locals and tourists alike, as well as staff. Renovated campsites on the current site, the campsites will be renovated, designed to follow the natural valley terrain. A pedestrian bridge will be included, connecting the new site I am proposing with the existing Tionesta Lake recreation area. Phase 2 will include 2 fishing docks with on-site access and guidance to top spots on the Allegheny outside of the site itself, and a shooting range for safe, skill-building recreation and firearm education. But for a project like this, with the landscape meaning so much and contributing so much to this area's culture, we need to think about sustainability. So in terms of building the building over phase 1 and 2, we can look at locally sourcing the materials such as lumber, stone, and metalworks material. You can also look to build communal garden plots to supply the on-site diner with ingredients that are locally sourced. Tionesta is suffering from not having a place to eat aside from the Subway in town. So we need to provide a place to eat. And looking into the future, we can utilize the hydroelectric power that is generated from the Tionesta Dam outflow and using and harnessing the solar energy from the forest canopy to minimize environmental impact. All of this has shaped this project brief that pushed my project forward, which is to design an architectural plan that fosters outdoor recreation and strengthens intergenerational connections within the community of Tionesta. This project aims to support the town's revitalization by creating inclusive, accessible, and culturally rooted spaces that reflect and sustain Tionesta's unique identity and values. So, getting into the design process, to begin addressing the opportunity here, I first sought to understand the land, because in a place like this, landscape doesn't just shape the view, it shapes the people as well. Tionesta sits about 4 hours east of Columbus, tucked within a valley in western Pennsylvania. Its weather is more dramatic with heavy snow in the winters, shaped by lake effect winds from Lake Erie, and hot summers brought on by southern gusts from the south. These seasonal extremes demand resilience and adaptability from both residents and the built infrastructure that already exists. Highlighted in purple, we can see the major thoroughfares, with Route 80 acting as one of the vital arteries feeding into the region, with Route 36 bringing visitors directly into Tionesta. The town itself is beside the Allegheny River with its core nestled low in the valley, shielded, quiet, and surrounded by nature. Here we can see the site, my site, highlighted in blue with the Tionesta borderline being in red. And you're probably wondering, why is it not even in Tionesta? There's a reason for that. Here's a site breakdown, and here we can see that I selected this site because it lies at the base of the valley in a private pocket off the main river. It's shielded from the noise of Route 36 and surrounded by 5 major outdoor recreation areas used for athletics, fishing, hiking, boating, and other public events. This placement creates a natural node or beacon for outdoor activity while allowing for a sense of calm and retreat for the guests visiting. Once the site was chosen, I dove a little deeper into developing key guiding principles for the design, with 5 major ones standing out. One being seamless community integration, use of regionally sourced materials, looking at Tionesta's history and using that as tribute in the design, designing with inclusivity, as well as collaboration and sustainable practices. Here you can see a snippet of an architectural program that was created in order to map out the function of each space, the square footage, who would have access to this space, the number of people the space can cater to, the activities done within the space, equipment needs, and then any additional personal notes that aided in my design. The heart of the project, the lodge, which would serve as both a practical hub and symbolic anchor for Tionesta's revitalization. When designing the entrance, I prioritized an open floor plan on the main level to allow public spaces to be seen, such as the info station and lounge, with more private areas like lodging subtly tucked away on the second floor. Which leads us into our second floor tentative floor plan that I landed on after ideating with bubble diagramming and other spatial planning methods. The second floor includes simple yet comfortable rooms for couples, families, and friends, intentionally modest to encourage engagement with the outdoors and community. And of course, ADA accessibility was integrated throughout with the inclusion of an elevator and having the whole pad be on the same level, so those in wheelchairs or those with a disability can simply continue walking all the way through the building without changing levels. Then I needed to start thinking about how am I going to apply my concept to these floor plans and make it come to life. Here we can see my mood board emphasizing the power of quiet mentorship, because building community doesn't always require a crowd. Sometimes one-on-one connection is what makes the biggest impact. The materials to the right I chose reflect the natural and built environment of Tionesta. The stone is inspired by rocky yet fertile soils that support hundreds of miles of forest along with farmers' fields, topped off with a green canopy providing shade and cover for the wildlife below, which is emulated through the green tin roof. I was also working with forms that echo the layered terrain and wooded canopy surrounding the site. This entailed experimenting with bleeding and layer roof lines that flow into the ground. As I experimented with forms, I needed to pull back in order to cater to seamlessly integrating with the Tionesta community, creating no culture shock for the people that are living there now. My early sketches aimed to capture a lodge sensibility, something grounded, organic, and reflective of the land. These guided the development of my CAD model for both Phase 1 and 2. In shaping the landscape, I allowed dense foliage on the western edge to create a sense of seclusion. And as guests move eastward toward the river, the canopy thins, revealing views of the flowing Allegheny, offering a moment of arrival, reflection, and connection. Which leads us into the final concept. I'm excited to share with you the final master plan, a 4-part site across 8.25 acres, each area designed with intention and rooted in the local landscape. This site includes the main lodge area, renovated tent and RV campsites, a secluded shooting range, and a fishing zone with docks and a pedestrian bridge connecting the new site with the existing Tionesta Lake site. Here I've included an aerial view to show and give more context as to where the site lies within the valley. Trees line the main entryway as a series of one-way and two-way streets flow organically throughout the whole site. Let's start with the community lodge, which welcomes guests with 3 distinct entrances. On the left, a retail entrance can be seen, the main entry front and center, and a lounge entrance to the right, which opens up into the lounge but also a coffee shop area. As we continue around the perimeter, a landscaped patio flows seamlessly from the indoor event space to the outdoor event space. And of course, shipping and receiving is included, and I included foliage and trees to separate that area from the event space. On the back side, a porch and patio combo at the rear offers quiet, scenic gathering spaces. As we continue around, you will notice that skylights throughout the roof allow natural light and starlight to filter in, creating a warm, atmospheric experience. Welcome to the community center. From every angle, the layered design mimics the surrounding valley, creating a visual connection between architecture as well as terrain. Now let's look at the floor plan. Here we can see the first floor plan breakdown. And when I designed this, I used the principle, what you see is where you can go. This encourages movement, curiosity, and interaction both physically as well as socially. Upon entry, guests are welcomed by a reception desk offering check-in, area information, and event booking. Looking past the info desk to the right, there is a cozy communal lounge that invites guests to either start their day or wind down, connecting with conversations, mentorship moments, whatever that may look like, or simply sharing stories around the fireplace. Or, for larger social events, there is an event space waiting to be booked for events such as family reunions, expos, weddings, or township meetings. To the left, a dynamic retail area that can be seen through that window straight ahead invites local and visiting vendors to display goods, keeping commerce community-based. At the center, a reading room and classroom encourage personal growth, tucked away under the main staircase. Whether enjoying a quiet moment with a book or earning a hunter safety certification in this classroom. As we keep moving to the back of the center, a small gym provides an indoor activity option perfect for rainy days. As we move outside to the back patio, guests can enjoy meals made with fresh ingredients from the lodge's on-site diner, which is supported by a communal garden and local sourcing. As we move into the second floor, this provides essential lodging. Its modest but restful spaces are designed to recharge guests for outdoor adventures with ADA accessibility integrated throughout. As you get to the top of the stairs as a guest, it opens up into a balcony setting where the guests can look for their room and enter into their room. Here's an example of what one of the rooms would look like. Again, it's small and modest to encourage outdoor recreation. Yet, it remains comfortable so guests can enjoy their stay and have a good night's rest. As guests move to the back of the second floor, they're greeted by a porch upstairs, where it's located upstairs, and is the ideal space for people watching or enjoying the natural surroundings in silence. Next, we move into the staff amenities. An operation is only as strong as its people. That's why a dedicated staff zone is provided. Private staff amenities offer beautiful 360-degree views. There is a featured 3-car garage, including interior and exterior equipment storage. I've allowed for space beyond the garage for future expansion opportunities as the site as a whole develops and more maintenance equipment is required to maintain it. Here are the elevations, providing more context as to how the natural light flows into the 3-car garage as well as the upstairs. Let's take a look inside the garage bay. Here is a 3-car garage bay with an SUV sitting nicely with room to breathe. Shelving options are along the walls as one means of storage. Upstairs, staff have access to a variety of amenities, including an entertainment area, kitchen space, open office workspace, and dining. This is all offered because those caring for guests deserve care themselves. To wrap up phase 1, we can see a pedestrian bridge in the southeast corner of the new site with the existing Tionesta Dam recreation area, activating both spaces in tandem and providing seamless access to the broader landscape. Guests have access to the bridge during the daytime as well as the evening hours, with lights lining the way as they walk across the bridge. Moving into phase 2, the shooting range lies tucked away in the southwest corner, where the range is purposefully isolated for safety and serenity. This bunker-like structure contains noise cancellation features with 0 windows and is shielded by earth berms and dense foliage on all angles of the building. As we go inside, we can notice that there are 10 shooting stalls for rifle, shotgun, and pistol use. On the right side with the windows, a workshop encourages firearm maintenance and safety. These views further show the steps taken to provide noise control on all sides of the building. Here's a glimpse at the first floor plan. It's a simple building layout with a restroom included and is also wheelchair accessible. Now, during the day, public access to the workshop takes place, while lodging guests and members have the opportunity to take advantage of the workshop even into the nighttime. When guests are done with the space, they simply exit from where they entered and head back to their RV or tent campsite, back to the lodge to stay the night in their room, or if they're a local, they can just go back to their house. Lastly, to the north and south, 2 new fishing docks create moments of connection. This dock is perfect for casting a line, sharing a quiet walk, or playing a few chords on a guitar. A fly fishing segment between the north and south dock offers an immersive riverside experience. These docks expand riverfront access and support casual recreational fishing for the rookies alongside more seasoned anglers, creating a chance to connect. Here are 2 elevations that show more context as to where the dock lies along the shoreline of the river itself. So, let's recap. We're honoring Tionesta's rich history and deep personal ties, and this vision uses architecture as a bridge between generations, strengthening the town's identity through outdoor recreation and community-centered design. A phased development plan begins with a multi-use lodge, renovated campsites, and a suspended pedestrian bridge to Tionesta Lake, followed by expanded amenities like fishing docks and secluded shooting range. This is designed for affordability, inclusion, and long-term growth, with each phase supporting a sustainable impact on the environment. By embracing a mentorship model, sourcing local materials, and planning for renewable energy, this project fosters relationships, economic opportunity, and environmental stewardship, reinvigorating Tionesta as a nice place at a relaxed pace. Thank you all for listening today.